Dun, 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 dun. What the fucking camera. So welcome back to LightWave Guru. I show you all today for the Black Hole Production Group the second part of the production. And the first part is to make the technical development from a 3D scene. Yes, you build all technical functions from that, what you would see later. And the second part is then to shade and animate your objects that I will show today a little bit. So come with me. I show it. So, and the car have now a trailer with the melons. I think the one or another have it seen on my YouTube channel. And you see at time the scene with the environment, the test site himself is ready for shading and lighting. That means the car and this function is all cool. I can simulate or with the steering in what way I ever want. Yeah, the car have to go. And now I show the second part from a production like that. And that means after you have defined all your objects and what the objects have to do in the animation, and you build your environment, you see it here in the background, the next step is to lighting and shading a scene, yes? And we 3D artists, and this make a good artist need for that a good abstraction level to create the right shaders and create the right lighting to have in the end a scene. He looks nice, yes. And we have many different ways to become a good picture in the end. I see it. The light blend a little bit. Wait, I think I can something do about that against it. I think now it's better. You would see a little bit. And I load now the scene, you see it here, and that's my renderer. And that's not a classic CPU renderer. So that means the last 10 years, the most 3D artists work with CPU as a renderer. And now, the last 3 years, it with more and more normal that we use GPUs as renderer. And that means that the graphic cards you have render for you your picture, yeah? It's in that case, I have here 4 graphic cards in my computer, and you make it possible that the render you see now would render very fast, and I have a direct visual feedback, yeah, from my scene. You see it here. It needs a while to load the scene in the graphic card, but if the graphic card is loaded, I can show it and see all in real time, yeah. That means we go now to the another monitor here, so that monitor. I show it on that monitor, and the reason is that I can then work with my 3D program and go there to the camera and so. So now we see it here full screen, the scene, and I can now, right, I make a bit of the camera, but a little bit so, yeah. And I can now go with my cameras in the scene and check all the shaders and all the lighting and so, yeah, and that's in real time. And I can also take a look to other shaders, for example, the clay gray rendering, yeah, and I see better the shadows and the light and so, yeah. So, and if I now take a camera in my scene, and for that, the most artists have a second camera. He's not animated, he's only for to serve in the scene, yeah, that's my camera 2 in that case. And I can now with my camera 2 here play in the scene in real time. Yeah, that means if I move now with my camera, for example, I move it. Yeah, you see it. If I here move it with my camera, the same here is done. Yes, that means I have now a real-time feedback about my scene, and can then shading and lighting the scene. Yeah. For example, we take now the sunlight from the scene, yeah, and the sunlight builds a shadow here. For example, you see it here, the shadow. And if I take now the sunlight and change the sunlight, I can see it in real time, the changes. Yeah. We have now 16 o'clock, 17 o'clock, 18 o'clock, 19 o'clock, 20, yeah. And if it go later and later, it will darker and darker, yeah. And in that way you can create your scene, yeah. That's 11 o'clock, that's 8 o'clock in the morning, yeah, or 6 o'clock in the morning. You would see if it was earlier or very late in the scene, the sun spent more and more red looking light in that scene, yeah. So that's the way we produce today. That means the last 15 years or last 19 years in the end, or wait a sec, I worked the last 3 years with a physical based renderer with graphic cards. Okay, for my last 15 years, I have to work in another way, and that means that if we mean that we have the right lighting and the right shading, we have to render it out, and we render it out with a CPU and not with a graphic card. Yeah, we have to wait for pictures in that quality. Wow, from time to time, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Yeah, and now I can do it in real time, and that make a production much faster. And you have with that real-time feedback also the chance to react directly with your shading. Yeah. For example, we take now the car and change from the car the color from the car lack. Yeah. For example, so I make only a click on the car and then open it my surface editor. That's that here, and that's my car shader setup here. Yes. And if I now change here the main color, and it's this car lack is a flip lack. Yeah, you can with different light inputs create different colors. Yeah, and I change here the color. For example, I take it out here, then you see it better. And make here the color, for example, blue. Yeah, the car will change these colors to blue in real time. Yeah, and that's the way we create today 3D scenes and work with the GPU renderers. Yeah, and that make production in that case for that part, for the rendering part and the shading and lighting part, much faster. Yeah, that mean not that the technical development this year that the car is in function, yeah, and all works go faster. That's not the case. Yeah, that needs the same time, and if you have complex scenes, it needs a while, and it's time to develop the scene. But that part here go now much faster. Yeah, if you have the right hardware. My computer, for example, that I can work in that way, including the software licenses, cost near 12,000 euros. Yeah, 12K. That's the price you have to pay if you work in that level. Yes, but then you can create pictures like that near real time. Yeah, that's the minimum cost you need to work in that level. Yeah, and in real time. Yeah, so I change now the color to another color, a dark green. Yes, And so I can tint the complete car and the complete scene. Yeah. For example, we can also take here the floor, the ground. Yeah. And I show you the ground setup. That's the texture from the ground. Yeah. And if I now put in the image inputs in other textures, you can see that we then become in real time another, yeah, you see it here, another a floor, yeah. And it's really funny to work with a real-time application, and the reason is you have a very fast feedback. Yeah, you see it here in real time, and that's the thing we work today. Yes, and now you have to find for all the parameters here. Yeah, for my example, my background here, yeah, with the rocket and the complete test site area, the right textures to create scenes here's nice for your eyes. Yeah, and it makes sense in that case that you have the right textures and so. So that's the way we work today. It's you can see that in the following way. LightWave is a world builder. You know, you can build complete worlds in your 3D program, and you can with a real-time renderer like this physics-based renderer here. The name is Octane, by the way, yeah, from Otoy. Then go and play with the scene near real time, like if you play a 3D game, you know. It's really near from the handling, yeah. So, and in that way you can create very fast different looks for your objects and all and your lighting and so. And in the end you have a scene like that, yes. And if you mean that all is fine and you have the right textures and the right look, you can do the following more. This is a way to render pictures out in one layer. Yeah, that's your also the final color layer. Or you can also give for your video production out every channel from the pictures as a separate picture. That's, for example, here the ambient occlusion channel. Yeah, the ambient occlusion channel. Or you can give out other channels like what we did with the wireframe. I searched for it. Showed me as wireframe. Yeah, that's the wireframe. Or the geometric normals. Yeah, that show that all your polys are sorted in the right way. For example. Yeah. So shading normals. That's here the object IDs. That the object ID means that every object in the scene have his own ID, his own number, and in that way you can separate with that kind of mask every object and tint him for himself, yeah, or make some other funny things with that, yeah. If you're a good composite artist, yeah. If you take, for example, for that After Effects or Fusion or Nuke or all the tools out there, yeah. So here you have also the motion vector. In the moment I have here no motion. You have here the light path ID. I have only one light in the scene, so I have no ID for that. That's here also interest channel. It's a transmission channel, and that transmission channel show all parts from your objects he transmitting light, yeah. So, and with that here that is a simple alpha mask, for example, yeah. Then you can, for example, if you would later have another sky, then you render out that layer here with the same camera drive, and then you can change in the background the sky if you want. Yes, make it very easy. You must then not render the color channel, the final color channel. I mean that channel here, and the reason this need much longer to render. If I now put in here another sky, I render in that case only out this here, yes, and put another sky in the back, rendered out. It's much fast, you see it, and then I can match it and layering it in Fusion or in After Effects or in another tool. Yeah, so that's the way we produce today, and this is not the reason that the whole production would be much faster as before, but for the 3D artist is it very good a tool to direct the look and feel from a scene, and it's also for the department he creates a look and feel very nice that we can in real time change all parameters in a scene. Yeah, this means if a designer from a scene sit with a 3D artist in front from a computer like that, yes, and he say, okay, make the car more green, or make the floor more that, or change the sky, or change what the fuck everything, we can do it in real time, and the designer have a real-time feedback. Yeah, and that makes the process much more easy, as we work for years with CPU and wait for all the renders hours and hours. Yeah, so we can create with a design development with a design department direct the look and feel in real time, and that make much things about that much easier. Yeah, and that's also good for your socializing with the people if you not must wait days by days for your renders and for the changes about the look and lighting. Yeah. So another thing is that we as 3D artists, I talk about that also in the first video for the Black Hole Production Group about behind the scenes, that we work today often over the internet. Yeah, and for that I have, for example, here a full HD camera. Yeah, you see in the background also another project. Here a full HD camera, and then we chat over Hangout or Skype or other tools with video and show us and sharing the screens and talk about and discuss about the scenes. Yeah, or different techniques to shading or lighting or so. Yes, that's also a factor. He save up time in a production. Yeah, that's the normal way a 3D artist today also talk with his clients. Yes, we are not on a telephone. We do it over the internet with cameras. But that's also as a funny end, yeah, from that showing. So now you are informated what a 3D artists do, and what the way is that we today produce scenes like that here. And yes, that I would show, and now I go back to work and finish the environment and the background. Yeah, so I can show later the final rendering and Dr. JM Finger drive in that environment with his car, his trailer, yeah, and all that. So I hope I'm talking not too long. I say Bye bye and see you later. Stay tuned for more. Yeah.